You're listening to Pop This, the podcast where two women talk about everything pop culture. Here are your hosts, Lisa Christiansen and Andrea Warner.
So how DIY are you really? That term gets thrown around, especially now, since I've been, reading lots of really great pieces about DIY culture with Riot Girls and Bikini Kill coming back. And I'm like, I am not DIY.
I mean, I appreciate a lot of a DIY aesthetic.
Yeah, I can do that.
And I definitely, with a group of people, we made our own magazine when I was 20 and stuff like that.
Was it nice, though?
It was nice looking.
Oh, okay, good.
Here's another. So I have experimented with collage as my art form.
You make it sound like you were doing drugs or something. I have experimented.
No, it was so funny. I was invited to display my art collages.
You made me a collage.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did. Well, I did it for
a card.
Everyone that pre-ordered my first book.
Yes.
Which was very 90s. So that's one of the reasons. But I previous to that, about 10 years earlier, I had been invited to display my collages at this art festival on the Sunshine Coast. And when I got there, the woman who had invited me, she was like, "Oh, I thought these were 6 feet tall statement pieces." Because it was it was very political. It was about pro-choice and stuff like that. And she was, I've never forgotten her disappointment at seeing the small.
How big were they?
They were small. They fit in my car. These were not huge pieces at all. But she had just been under the impression that I was making these 6 feet long and tall installation pieces. And I was like, that was a miscommunication of epic proportions. Anyways. This is off the track, but anyway, this is my world of mild experimentation and DIY.
Yeah, no, that's good. I felt bad because I'm not crafty or handy or any of the E's apparently. I bought this nightstand at a secondhand store, and I almost didn't buy it because it had this a bit of the veneer was chipped off of it, and then I thought, oh well, I won't. Doesn't bother me, and so I decide to. Maybe I could repair this. And I look it up on Pinterest. That's how I do things.
Yep.
And apparently you can repair it. And I felt really bad because it never even occurred to me that there might be a way to fix this and that I might be able to do it.
You had the capacity somewhere.
I haven't tried it yet.
Of course. Yeah, sure.
I have read the instructions.
Yep.
Of this handyman. But I just paid someone to mow my lawn the other day. I would not... post-Holocaust, nuclear war, or whatever, I am not the person you want in your group.
Where are you going? Well, that's why I wanted... Remember what I really had this thing, and I think I've talked about it here before, where I wanted to learn to make soap, because that was going to be my only DIY skill, after end of the world kind of Survivor
That's it, making
stuff.
soap?
I know. Look, I understand that this is not a great game plan. I'm just trying to avoid being eaten first.
I feel like I should learn fermenting.
Fermenting
Everybody's
is a good one.
into fermenting.
Yeah, fermenting's a good one.
And I feel like that would come in handy. I feel like once they steal from my home and have to decide what's next, I can say... You got a fermenter? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
You got a fermenter?
Well, I don't
because then you can make alcohol, right?
But I don't think you need specifically a fermenter. I think you can kind of ferment in almost anything.
But you could. It's a thing you need to know how to do.
You do need to know how to do it.
Yeah.
You can't just make it up.
Because I'm guessing
that's how you get botulism.
After the bad times, you can't just Google.
Probably not.
There won't be a WikiHow.
No, probably not.
You got to memorize some things.
Yeah. Carlos is very... kind of crafty. He set up his own silk screening station on our back porch.
Really?
Yeah, and was silk screening stuff and hand printing stuff. And I just was. I did draw the images for the buttons we made for our wedding, but And I mean, I can make some stuff, but yeah, I'm not.
I can cook. I'm good at cooking and baking.
Well, that's good. I have none of those skills.
Yeah, I'm quite good at those skills.
I was terrible at sewing. I tried to learn to knit, couldn't do that.
Yeah, my grandma. She was so good at knitting.
It's people like my cousin Kamiko tried so hard to teach me so many times.
Yeah.
And it was just.
I felt so bad. My grandma wanted so bad. And I thought it was such a neat thing because we would just sit, and we would sit around at night watching TV.
Yeah.
And she would knit.
Yeah, and you can do it while you're also watching something else. This is,
Wool sweaters.
Yeah. No, I think it'd be great. Well, Andrea Gin knit me that toque a long time ago.
Oh, our Andrea Gin is very crafty.
Great crafty knitter.
Yes,
and great crafty
maker
person.
of things. And
I know. It's I'm the other. I was at Carlos's parents' house a few weeks ago, and we found all his, not just his, but in general, a bunch of old patches from Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and jamborees and stuff like that.
Ooh.
And so I thought, I could take these patches and then all I'm going to do is attach them to a piece of fabric and then frame them or something. And and that's easily, that's an art. It's not really an art, but it's those are the kinds of things that I like to do.
Did you do that?
I haven't yet, but I have them at home.
Yeah.
And I will. I know.
There was a very funny Onion article once, and it was just this guy, and it was said weird. Was it weird vacuum cleaner found in alley will not become lamp.
That's the kind of thing I would love to think I could do.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's not.
One person's trash is another person's treasure. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm still in the trash category. I cannot.
No, I will take stuff found in an alley.
Oh, I will take it, but I don't know what I'm planning to do with it.
Yeah, stuff that's broken. I wish I was good at woodworking. I wish I was that. Really is what I think would be a real great skill and art.
Yeah.
I think of that as one of the best ways that I could. Spend
I took
my
woodworking
time.
in high school.
Me too.
And made a nightstand.
Oh, that's great. They only had us make a stupid little wheelie car.
Oh.
Yeah, a wooden car. And I don't know. I wasn't that excited about that. I thought if I could have made something practical and useful that I could also make kind of sleek and stylish, then I'd be.
But you need a shop.
Yeah.
After that.
There are a few different I think DIY woodshop collectives throughout Vancouver.
Yeah.
That you could sort of belong to and join or sign up for an afternoon class or whatever, and I like that idea.
Yeah. I always like these ideas, and then it's hard. One time I did rock climbing, and I thought, I really enjoy this. This is fun. I'm going to do this again. And then I went to try and learn how to do it, and I was just, this is not fun. No. And I know that there's a learning curve.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I would say a whole learning ledge.
Yeah.
Technically.
And I just wanted to go up here.
Uh-huh.
Can we just do that? And they're like, well, yeah, but you want to learn how to do it, don't you? And I'm...
The answer is no. I never want to learn how to do it.
No, I just wanted to do it.
Yeah.
With you holding me up there. I didn't want to have to be the person pulling you up or whatever it is. So I gave up. I gave up quickly.
Yeah.
I gave up. Some people might say too soon, but I say just right.
Look.
When I realized I have no interest in really committing to this.
Uh-huh.
I have a hard time. The few things I can commit to are a Netflix special series.
Yes.
Right?
Uh-huh.
And a novel I like.
Yeah. You're pretty committed to your kids and your dogs.
Yeah.
That's about it.
So far, they haven't disappointed me. That's more of an obligation as well, as a commitment, right?
Fair.
But I mean, in terms of those things that you people who start something really ambitious, I'm going to learn to speak Spanish.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Well, I mean, I've tried that. I've done one of the things that so going back to my love of collage.
Yes.
I would love to be able
to make a Spanish collage.
Well, I mean,
a band name.
I did try to learn Spanish when I was writing my first book. I didn't bother with my second book. Why
are you learning Spanish with your first book?
Well, in my first book, I needed to create a mental disconnect between my workday and my writing evening.
Okay.
And so and also learning Spanish, I've been sort of loosely promising Carlos's family for our entire 13-year relationship that I'm going to one day be able to converse in Spanish with them.
Paella's not enough for them?
It is not. It is not. And I want to learn. I think it would be really fun. And I always have thought, I wish I learned multiple languages when I was younger.
Yeah, well.
I'm not good at that. But I would also like to turn my love of collage into me being able to make my own animations.
Oh.
Like, legitimately. And I know that
Are you segueing?
It's not just me segueing, but it is partly me segueing.
Okay.
But, like, I legitimately watched what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
We've only watched the first 2 episodes.
Yes.
And it was hard for me to stop at 2. But I did. But I watched the first 2 episodes and I was like, I wish I could do this.
Have you ever thought about taking your love of collage and moving it into decoupage?
No, I've done decoupage and I don't like it. It's sticky. It's gross. And I don't want to touch stuff like that. Yeah.
I think that's one of the most fun sentences I've ever put together.
Nope.
Your love of collage into a decoupage.
Nope. I want my love of collage to turn into a ability to do crude animation.
Oh, right. Well, there is no better segue into...
I mean, it's not crude. This is very stylishly crude. That's what this is.
It's, yeah, okay. Stylishly crude. Is that an expression?
I mean, it's my expression.
Okay.
And I think of it actually as applying to myself now.
Oh.
Stylishly crude.
Oh.
Look at me.
I was thinking I was victoriously vulgar.
Yeah, we're not getting an explicit tag tonight.
Yeah, no, we're not.
I'm so excited to talk about this. My name's Andrea Warner.
I'm Lisa Christiansen.
You're listening to Pop This, and we're talking about Tuca and Bertie.
Yes, a brand new animated show.
I already jumped ahead, but
That's
I'm like,
okay. You
I do.
take
I love
your
it so much.
into
Okay.
it. All right. So who's going to read? Why are we doing this? Is that giving out too much of our process?
It's too much of a... No, I'm kidding. It's fine. So we're doing this. It's an animated show by women about a friendship between 2 women birds, starring the voice talents of Tiffany Haddish and Ali Wong, with Stephen Ewan, Nicole Byer, and many other awesome guest stars.
Tuca and Bertie is the new Netflix series from the BoJack Horseman animator and production designer Lisa Hanawalt. It follows the friendship between 2 30-year-old bird women who live in the same apartment building. Tuca, a cocky, carefree toucan, and Bertie, an anxious, daydreaming songbird.
I know, I love it so much.
Tiffany Haddish is Tuca, a toucan, Bertie's best friend. Ali Wong is Roberta Bertie, song thrush, a robin. Tuca's best friend, who is a senior operations analyst. Isn't that what Chandler Bing did on Friends?
Basically, I think. Yeah.
Previously a data processor for 3 years at Condé Nast. And Speckles' girlfriend.
I know.
Condé Nast.
Condé Nast is maybe one of the
That
things
was very funny.
that I love the most immediately.
Yes.
Give a quick synopsis. This is from the AV Club. The series follows Tuca and Bertie, best friends and roommates turned neighbors, as they navigate and are nudged apart by new phases in their lives. Tuca, an effervescent toucan who boasts that she brings a lot of zest to her environment, is 6 months sober, but not quite divorced from her hedonistic ways. Bertie, a sensible song thrush, works in data processing at Condé Nast, where she's due for promotion if the cock, as in Rooster in the office, would stop stealing her ideas and talking over her. I love the fact that there is a literal cock.
Yeah. Who cock-a-doodle-doos.
Yeah, who cock-a-doodle-doos and talks over her. And
what's his name again? Shep?
Shep or Colin would be great names. I can't remember what his name is because he's so unimportant.
It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter
You've
at
worked
all.
with him.
Oh my! Like that's what I like.
He has bothered you in a bar once. He is on The Bachelor, or at least some reality show like Jersey Shore.
Episode 2 of Tuca and Bertie. Again, we're only going to talk about the first 2 episodes. So if you haven't seen the whole thing, don't worry about it. We're not going to spoil anything. We are going to talk at length about the first 2 episodes. That second episode is really, I think, truly one of the first times I've seen an office environment reflected so perfectly through the female gaze as to what it actually is like. When
you're the smart one, but nobody's appreciating you because you're not like really loud and you come up with ideas like high five.
Yeah, and when you're like just kind of, quiet and you've been sort of like gaslit for a number of years,
Yes.
and you are maybe a little bit anxious, and don't sort of step up to the plate. I mean, but in general, all in all, like it is a great episode that really explores what it is to be a woman in the workplace. And I thought I was so grateful for it.
Or a woman bird.
A woman bird, either
Yes.
way.
Yeah.
I also love the fact that these two characters are bird women in their early 30s.
Yes.
Because I feel like we've seen a lot of shows where everyone is sort of in their early 20s or mid 20s or whatever. And by 30, you're apparently supposed to have it together in a different kind of way.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that, I mean, yeah, like these two do have some elements of their lives together, but you're still figuring some stuff out in your early 30s. And I think that this recognizes that really well.
Yeah, I don't know about whether or not Tuca's really got it together.
No, she's working on it, though.
No, she's...
I mean, 6 months sober is that's an
it's
achievement.
a quest. It's an achievement.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. So now you're a fan of BoJack Horseman. I know that.
I am. I love BoJack Horseman so much.
And I did not.
And you did not. You don't like it at all. How much did you watch of it?
I watched enough that I didn't want to watch anymore.
Yeah, that doesn't fully answer my question. Like, did you watch like one episode?
I watched probably 2, maybe 3.
Okay.
When it first started. And I'm the person, I'll be honest, I am that person who watches Family Guy and goes, who knows that Brian is a dog talking? Like, who can hear this? Mm-hmm. That's me.
You want, like, more
I don't know
reality.
what's going on.
Yes.
I don't understand the way it works.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a very surreal thinker.
Yeah, you want, like, rules.
Well, I like rules.
Yeah.
I like knowing where I'm going.
Yeah. So if you're I think that that's a good thing to know about yourself as like a pop culture consumer. If surreal isn't really your beat,
Yes.
then animation is maybe like animated adult entertainment might not also be your beat.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That I would definitely say, like, I feel like the Venn diagram of people who really like, say, like the surreal worlds of David Lynch are very much into these weird, like, Aqua Teen Hunger Force or whatever that's called.
I haven't watched that, so I don't know about that. But
I have watched that too.
Uh-huh.
And that's like a meatball, a cup, and a Dragon Man, or I don't know, like, and so they're the weird. So on all of these shows, they have this conceit that they are very like world weary, pop culture references, yet childish animation. So that's there for you if you like that, and I find it very boring.
Okay, so is that your review of BoJack Horseman or Tuca and Bertie?
Like
the genre as
the genre is not my favorite.
Okay,
it really isn't, and I didn't. And also weirdly, I feel like I'm a pretty cynical person, but I felt like BoJack Horseman was too cynical for me.
BoJack Horseman is deeply cynical.
Yeah.
But it's also a show that has, I have found, a tremendous amount of heart. I have cried at BoJack Horseman multiple times.
Wow.
Yeah. It is truly, truly a heartbreaking show on many levels that I think
then so even if I get past those things, the cynical part, then I get to a place where I don't care at all about BoJack Horseman. Mm-hmm. He is the architect of his own doom all the time, and so then I'm not going to cry over that. I don't feel like there's any stakes, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think it's a show that does. I think personally, it's a show that took me about 6 episodes to get super into.
Wow. Why did you keep going after 6 episodes?
The same reason I kept going 6 episodes for Parks and Rec. Like, the first 6 episodes of Parks and Rec are terrible. Yeah. Really. They're not very good.
Is it because you knew other people said it was really good, so it was worth it? Because I feel like at one point, there might have been a reason to sit with 6 episodes because there's nothing else on. But
no, I give it a bit of space because I know it depends. It depends. If I can see a kernel of something there that, like, gets me, then I'll give it a chance.
Yeah.
But if I'm utterly bored or it's just not for me, and I know that pretty quick, then I'll probably tune out after 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah.
BoJack Horseman was not something that I thought I was going to be into at first. In fact, it was while Carlos was watching it that I got sucked in by the second season. Then I had to go back to the first season.
See. Yes.
And
see, now that's a good point, because the problem I find is trying to get in, watch 6 episodes of a first season. It's not the same as when it's on regular TV where they're tinkering as you are experiencing, right?
Yeah.
Like a regular network show.
Yeah.
The thing on Netflix is that whole thing's done.
The first
season's up.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no tinkering.
Yeah.
Maybe the tinkering will begin in season 2. So that's very clever what you did.
Well, I mean, it's accidental.
But I think starting maybe at season 2 in some of these shows would make sense. Mm-hmm. And then deciding, which is weird. But I think that season 1, it's not going to be perfect.
It's not. But that's the thing. I don't expect a season 1 of almost anything to be perfect, right?
Yes.
And so Tuca and Bertie doing. So with all that said,
yeah.
Do you like anything about the first 2 episodes of Tuca and Bertie?
No, not really.
Okay, that's fair.
I found I didn't. The surreal, I don't understand why there's a plant woman upstairs. I don't know what that is. Why does she have all these turtles? It felt like I was high. I felt like it was a psychic.
I think that's purposeful.
That's purposeful?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm like, why does she have all these turtles?
I think because it's just fun.
And then I'm thinking, she has all these turtles. Oh, I guess that's normal. And then all of a sudden, Tuca's all, why do you got so many turtles? I'm like, oh, so this is weird. So I don't even know what to respond to being weird. Nobody's weirded out by the fact that she has a plant for a head.
No, that's definitely normal in this
that's
world.
That's normal in this world.
Yeah.
In this world. But the turtles.
I thought so I obviously have different feelings about this. I loved episode 2. Episode 1, I was like, okay, there's enough here that I'm going to come back for episode 2.
Okay.
I found the fact that Lisa Hanawalt does BoJack and that she has created this on her own entirely. Mm-hmm. I love the way that I feel the difference in it, which is that it doesn't have that cynicism that's at the heart of BoJack.
A toxic male.
Yeah. But a lot of BoJack is about interrogating toxic masculinity and realizing that...
I feel like my whole life is that.
No, I know. But having a character realize that and sort of spend time trying to... just realizing that masculinity in that form is so toxic and how it has ruined him and also benefited him greatly.
Yeah.
So anyways, but what I love so much about Tuca and Bertie is that it feels joyful. Uh-huh. And it is the thing that threw me about the first episode is it's so frenetic.
Yeah.
I honestly thought, am I gonna end up having a seizure? It was so fast paced. There was so much going on. There were so many visual throwaway things.
Yes.
So many jokes.
Little lists and things.
The list.
And
It was. It felt like just constantly. Remember did I tell you about when I got caught when I got laundry machined in Hawaii, when the waves just kept tumbling me and pummeling me and pummeling me and I couldn't get up?
Yeah.
That's what this felt like in a sort of sonic, a visual. A visual way. It was just relentless.
Yeah.
And it took me a bit as okay, am I going to be able to do this? I don't know. But I really liked immediately sort of I love Tiffany Haddish already, and I love Ali Wong already.
Yeah, I like female friendship stories.
That's
obviously.
the thing. Yeah.
I like female friendship stories that have that element of taking care of each other because you're both so different.
Yeah.
And I think that
and just being able to explore codependency in that way.
You always see these one person had a You and Me and Dupree or whatever that was, that rom-com there.
Yeah.
Where how are we gonna get this guy to move out? Well, he's not.
Yeah, he's just never
He's
going
not
anywhere.
ever gonna move out.
Yeah.
And I know you moved in, but he's staying.
Well,
and so I love that idea.
And the fact that at the end, we have this situation at the end of the first episode where Tuca's okay, I'll move my box out, and Bertie's the one who's no, leave it
your
here.
box.
And it's really it's very cute and it's very sweet, and because I feel like sort of those situations are really are ones that we can sort of identify with as like we think we're ready for big steps in our lives, and then we get scared of them, and we want the thing that has made us feel safe for so long, you know? And so that was like a really sweet moment.
My gut tells me that Tuca's never growing up, though.
I think Tuca will grow up a tiny bit. Like, but I also think like her like sort of, I mean, she's meant to bring the wow factor. Like, I mean, you know, there's a reason they hired Tiffany Haddish to play Tuca.
Sure, yes.
You know, she's gonna like come in and you want a character who's gonna like dance on a table and like, and then like caw really loudly. That's the sound. Oh my God. When she, in the second episode, where she gets up on the table and says, that's the sound of the alarm every time it has been 3 minutes since a woman has spoken in a meeting, I just about died.
Yes,
like, honestly.
yes.
And those tiny shorts on a toucan, I love it so much.
Yeah, those tiny shorts. Yeah.
I love it so much.
And I like hearing Nicole Byer's voice just popping up every once in a
Nicole
while.
Byer just being like fun. A one-woman like cartoon showcase is
I know.
Incredible. Like
maybe I'll be a dead person's pie. You don't know. Or a dead bird or whatever.
So speaking of, a dead bird in a dead bird come to life as someone's grandma that then is eaten. So how did you get through these first 2 episodes?
Well, I mean...
Because that's like fairly surreal.
Yeah, it is fairly surreal. I mean, I watched them and I had a couple of chuckles. I mean, I would say that when you said... I think you asked me just like, was there anything I really liked about it? Yeah. And I have to say, I did read an interview with the creator, Lisa Hardewalt. And she bought a horse recently, which I thought was extremely sweet. And there was a picture of her walking the horse. And I really liked her. And I recognized that she is a person that is just in this world she creates, and I love it. So I appreciate things like this existing. Yeah. I want more of things like this to exist. Yeah. It's not for me. Yeah, yeah. No, so when I watch it, I'm going, I wish I was fun like this. It's like, it's like the way I feel when I watch, what's her name that makes all those movies? Curly hair.
A filmmaker who makes a lot of movies who has curly hair?
Not a lot of movies. She's an artist.
Oh, Miranda July.
July.
The whimsy of Miranda July. So Miranda July is another filmmaker whom I do love.
Yeah, okay.
A substantial amount.
Exactly. Yeah. I wish I was more like her. I do. I wish I could be more like these people. Because I recognize that they just have a really cool way of seeing things. Like before when we were talking about DIY, like I will see trash and they will see, oh, look at that. You could make a movie out of that. And you can? And they do. Yeah. And I love that. Yeah. And I really do. And I'm not like that. And so I sit there and I watch, but I don't feel like I'm participating. Which I just made that sound really sad, didn't I?
I mean, it does sound a little lonely.
Yeah.
Does it feel lonely when you're watching it?
Yes, yeah, okay. Because it's like a whole bunch of people speaking another language and laughing. Uh-huh. And you are sitting there hoping there's going to be some good food after.
Well, I mean, I was thinking about like, you know, like you talked a little bit about RuPaul, like when we started talking, and RuPaul's Drag Race. And yes. That is an entry into a world of a language that you don't really understand. Yeah. You know, do you think that there's something in, like, you know, and understandably, BoJack Horseman is certainly not for everyone. Mm-hmm. Tuca and Bertie, I think, is like a very different environment. Like, do you think that there is enough there in the first 2 episodes that would make you want to watch a third?
No.
Okay.
I don't. I mean, it's not the worst thing or anything like that. It's just like, even animation is tricky for me. Like, I would say I, over my lifetime, have probably really enjoyed The Simpsons, like normal people. And, and I quite like Bob's Burgers. But I think a lot of the reason I like Bob's Burgers is mainly because it's just about those people running a burger place. And also the voices. I just love all of the people who do the voices. Linda you know, that voice from Linda is my favorite sketch I watch every Christmas. Look at the tree. Look at the tree. It's my favorite thing. So I'm very attached to Bob's Burgers for weird reasons.
But those shows like Simpsons and Bob's Burgers, they have like established rules and you know who's human and who's not, and you know, like there's not a lot of I know. Yeah, there's not a tremendous amount of
I'm
sort of
very, very dull linear. No, it's true though. I am. It's okay. I'm comfortable in this little austere world of mine.
Well, and so like maybe it's not for you per se, but like I feel like you're not the type of person who so like there have been so many rave reviews that have come out from like a bunch of different like people. I put them in this
way
like,
cooler than I am.
No. But like I just think like the one negative review, and I feel like yours isn't a negative review. I feel like you're just like upfront. This is not like I'm not the audience for this.
Yeah, no, it's not even a negative review. It's just not me.
Yeah. But like I feel like one of the negative reviews that I read was this guy from CNN who insisted on positioning Dead to Me, another Netflix show, like in compare and contrast fashion to Berta and Tuca.
Because two women?
Tuca and Bertie. Yes, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Because two women.
Yeah,
and so like this is sort of one of the things that I think I'm so grateful to all of the other, like it seems like a lot of women have reviewed this show and like really like spent some time like thinking about like, but they're all reviewing the entire series.
Yes.
So that's one of the things that I thought was kind of interesting is, this is apparently, and it is a very rare thing. The Guardian gave it 4 out of 5 stars and said that it's adult animation made by women about women.
Yes.
Even though they're in bird form. And I think that is something that's kind of exciting because, I can't think of many other shows that sort of exist in like TV shows that are sort of animation centric that are made by women about women.
No,
like
I agree.
It's completely outside the realm. And so like that's why one of the things that really excited me about the second episode is where we get to spend a bit more time in the reality, quote unquote, of their world, which is not just like establishing characters.
But isn't that kind of depressing to think that it would be so cool to be like bird women and you still have to deal with the same garbage at work?
Well, that's...
I mean, I would like...
But they're using... I mean, the bird women are just because I think that's Lisa's animation style.
Yeah.
But I mean, she talks a lot in this interview because apparently we're going to go to some pretty dark places with the show. But Lisa talks about it in an article on TV Guide because... not to spoil anything, but there will be a sexual assault storyline down the road in the series. And so Lisa Showalter was talking to TV Guide about her approach, and she said, quote, "A lot of my sensibility is taking something kind of awful and turning it into something positive, like the delivery guy whose face gets ripped off by a jaguar. It's a very dark and violent scene that came directly from a nightmare I had, but then he gets a starring role in a movie. So I don't know, I kind of like turning tragedy into something nice in the end. It's like a defense mechanism." And I get that as I get that particularly as a woman. Like I feel like half of the time a lot of my creative impulses and a lot of even like sort of things I derive pleasure from are actually results of coping mechanisms.
Right. Yeah.
Which is also depressing, I suppose, in the long run. But that's sort of where we are as people.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's funny to think about that because you and I both, the one thing we really do share is like procedural cop shows. Uh-huh. And I really love Scott and Bailey, which you've watched as well, right?
I love that.
So it is great seeing women that was created by women, written by women, starring women in these roles. And it is like generally quite awful. There's always going to be a murder, for sure. And it's going to have some horrible story with it. Yet at the end, I'm like, I processed something. I don't know what did.
And that's the thing. Like, I think there's like such possibility in animation giving us, and even surreal animation, like giving us this access to that continued catharsis.
Yes.
I think it will be like I think it could be like kind of jarring, Like, and I'm sure people who have experienced sexual harassment in the workplace were jarred by episode 2 because, you know, Bertie's defense mechanism is that after the cock makes an inappropriate comment about the tightness of her sweater, her boob just gives up and falls out.
Yeah, that was something. Yeah.
So how did you feel watching that scene?
It was like very smart. I mean, it kind of makes you wish I like that just because I thought it was what you wish, kind of like that wanting to like be a turtle and just go into yourself. Right?
Yeah.
I also wondered how like everyone's experience with HR is very bad.
Very bad. HR needs serious overhaul.
I think, is there like some
truly
series
terrible
out there like about HR people? You guys need. You guys, I don't know if any HR people are listening.
I think it's because HR is sort of, this is going to be a controversial statement that is only my own, and I am not saying Pop This has any responsibility or shares my opinion, but HR is much in the same way of a sort of militarized police system. It is there to protect the oppressors, not there for the marginalized.
Yeah,
which like HR is all about protecting the company.
I've never actually thought about where HR comes from, but I suppose it's some kind of directive from I don't even know what. I don't.
It's there to like give employees a false sense of
it's
being taken care of.
Just call it an anonymously.
Which is not to say that I think all HR people are terrible, but I do think that like the function of HR ultimately is to protect the company.
Yes, so I would say that the experience that Bertie has with HR in bringing a complaint was interesting.
And I think it's an experience that many people have had.
Yeah.
I love the visual of the boob getting so mad, just leaving the body. So offended, so tired, so like, I just need to be away.
Yeah.
And then her having to walk around all day with a hole in her chest.
Yeah.
And I thought that visual was incredibly interesting and evocative. Particularly because she continues to get in trouble, one, because it's not an appropriate way to dress because she's got a hole in her chest. Number two, everyone just sort of like takes it at face value. That like, oh, you know, my boob fell out again or whatever. Like, no, like, I mean, deep down, like her best friend and her boyfriend should probably be like maybe more insistent about asking her like what's really going on. It has to be the boob that comes home and tells Tuca what happened. Yeah. It has to, you know, it's...
Well, it's a good representation of, instead of just the, I mean, obviously it didn't work here with her loved ones, but the idea that it's not just an emotional scar on the inside.
Yes.
That you can see.
Yes.
How damaging something like that is.
Exactly. And to have like that piece of your body that apparently is being objectified have its own agency and its own voice so that it doesn't have to be you only carrying the load. Yeah. It's like your body is doing work for you in some way. Yeah. So I thought that was like, and I can't think of any other show that has ever represented sexual harassment in that way.
No, I think you're right about that. There's the joy of animation. The sky's the limit.
That's the thing. And that's like, that was one of the things that I thought was so exciting is just like, oh, wow, this is going to be able to allow us to go places that like we really haven't been before in terms of being able to really articulate women's stories. Yeah. Because there is, like, honestly, outside of the fact that like that sort of surreal thing, you know, it feels apart from you, wouldn't you also say though that being a woman is pretty surreal sometimes? Yeah. Yeah. Like maybe like your rejection of the sort of like fun of surrealness is because it is just overwhelmingly surreal half the time to like have to like live in this world. It is. It's a constant recognition all the time of frustration. Yeah. I don't know why the Hulk wasn't a woman. The Hulk? Yeah, no, I know. That's it absolutely the Hulk should have been a woman. Right? You know, if we were to like explore, because the Hulk's not always angry and a green monster. But if that had been a woman, that I think could have really projected some great stories for all of us to feel. Absolutely. And now we have to, we got this dude.
And then that wrecked everything, because then that made male anger look righteous, but not female anger.
Oh, all the time. Like, I mean, just honestly, yes, female anger, I really still spend so much time like having to sort of talk to people about how we normalize male anger and punish female anger.
Yeah. Oh, that's a normal reason to get angry. Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair to all of us, that, there's ways to be angry properly, and then there are reasons you're stuck in an anger management class, probably,
sure. Mm-hmm.
right? But yeah, you're right to say that male anger was correct, and that's why he turned into the Hulk.
Yeah.
I watched that show sometimes. It wasn't very fair.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah.
Like, he needed some definite help. But yeah, I think we've just allowed that to go along. So no, I prefer to see stories by women for women about these issues.
No, yeah. I know. Yeah. I'm just thinking of like the ways in which a show like Tuca and Bertie can probably like spin a lot of our stories, frankly, in a more real way through surrealism.
But the only thing I wonder about, and it was almost the word worry, because they sounded like the same thing, which they kind of are, is that, like, do you think men will watch this?
I mean, yeah, maybe.
I mean, you're going to say you don't care.
I mean, I don't care. It's
I
true.
Don't care
it's
either.
True, I don't care.
However, I do think it would be, great if, like, sometimes I find I listen to a conversation about something like a great podcast. I was at New York Times, did a podcast on Riot Girl Movement. Mm-hmm. And one of the hosts was male. Mm-hmm. And part of me was like, I don't need you there.
Yeah.
Then the other part of me was, oh, no, I'm glad you actually listened to this.
Well, no.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I would hate to feel like...
I don't think, like, we need to leave... I think it's about, like, centering men, right? So, like, in that situation where it's a host... We don't need him there. I'm glad he listened, glad he showed up, but we don't need him there.
No.
And I think, like, this is the kind of show where, like, BoJack Horseman's fan base, I don't know actually how skewed it is in sort of like around along a gender binary.
No, I think a lot of women watched it because women can watch shows about men and male things and not freak out.
Yeah, exactly. And so often what is sort of sold to us as gender neutral defaults as male.
Yes.
And so I think like this is a kind of show that very explicitly in its colors, in its animation style, in its it's got boobs everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, but so I think it's very specifically saying this is like a feminized landscape. But I do think that men will watch it, one, because like cartoons and animation are still marketed towards men for the most part. Two, the people that did love and do love BoJack Horseman want to turn to something else when it's not around, right?
Yeah.
So I think that there will be, and again, this is like as if it's just a binary. Like we know gender is a spectrum, so there'll be lots of people watching it.
Yes.
But I do think like it's really exciting, this idea that and it feels like a very like all women writer room creative team. Like the executive producer of BoJack is still and creator of BoJack is still part of this. He's executive producing it. But this is Lisa's vision, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's really exciting. And I feel like also, you know, I think we can see as well like Tiffany and Allie's influence into like their character development too. Because like they wrote it, obviously, like Lisa wrote it earlier on, but once the voice actors were cast, then it was like sort of making those characters a little bit more molded to the talents that she had. Yeah. And then the recording process. So I do think that this is another one of those shows that, you know, will give us a much more like full and joyful appreciation of all the nuances of female friendship. Because I also, in one of the interviews I read with her, she said she's also not afraid of exploring like what it means to have, friendship breaks and what it means when friendship doesn't last and like to go on these different journeys and stuff. And I feel like those are things like Broad City, obviously it sort of invokes, and that just ended. And, you know, so I'm always like on board for like another another show picking up the mantle of exploring female friends that I
Female
would want to be
friendship
friends with.
is much more complicated, I find.
I mean, I think it's more,
at least the way it's portrayed. Like a male friendship in movies is always, oh, that guy killed my dog. He's my friend still. Though.
Well, and I think there's something to be said for just the desire for communication between women.
Yeah.
Is we're doing a lot of that emotional labor all the time. Yeah. So of course we're going to sort of do that in our friendships as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we want to have like these deep, meaningful, lasting bonds.
Yeah.
But we're also going to interrogate things that don't work for us anymore and how we change and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm very excited.
You like animation, so I knew you would like this.
I was not 100%, but I thought I would. Because I do like BoJack Horseman.
I was sure.
Oh, thanks.
If you'd asked me, I would have said, and you probably would have said, I don't think Lisa's.
I mean, I wasn't sure because it's, I did know that you like Bob's Burgers. I didn't know that you really hated BoJack. I think that I knew that you didn't care for it, but I didn't know that you really hated it. And I think like that.
Well, I don't want to say really hate because I don't want people to like. I don't know. It's like everyone. You have to. There are certain things you say you really hate. People are like, "What's wrong with you?"
Oh, it's fine. Let him ask.
Yeah, I know, but I just like I can't imagine ever going to watch it again.
Well, if you do, start with season 2 and then go back to season 1.
Yeah, because I literally do not care at all about that kind of character.
Yeah, fair.
I don't need to see the redemption of a terrible...
And you know that I have very little patience ultimately for that kind of character arc as well. But I also do enjoy a male character who is arrogant. And there's a real conflict in those two things for me.
Yeah.
But that's because I grew up sort of like idolizing the sort of like arrogant, self-obsessed male character. Like that was a thing from soap operas to beyond.
Whoa.
You know,
I mean that's pretty much all the entertainment, and especially in the last few years, your Tony Sopranos, your Walter Whites, your
and I didn't have
Drapers
any patience for Tony Soprano. I didn't have any patience for Walter White. I watched Mad Men, but I wasn't really watching for Don Draper. But BoJack, I think what again sucked me in for BoJack was actually everyone around BoJack and how they ended up sort of sucked into his toxic orb because they all needed something from him. Yeah, and they were complicit in that toxicity. Yeah. And so I like that, and I also think it's a really great satire of fame, and so I like that too because I'm interested in like the toxicity of fame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know we've both had our, share of fame. So.
I mean, I know. Like, it's just, we want to make sure we're going to stay okay.
We've stayed together this long.
Neither of us have had to be knocked down a peg yet.
Not yet.
Not yet, but it's coming.
Not yet, but I think it's coming, yeah.
All right, so I love
Yeah, and I'm not going to say
Bertie.
it doesn't pop because I just feel like it's not for me.
Yeah.
But I definitely like that it's there.
Yeah.
I'm very happy it exists, happy it got made, but it's just not the kind of thing like a Miranda July movie I watch and I go, oh, I don't get this, like that.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I do think it pops.
Yeah, I know.
So I'll just, it's fine. That's great.
I'm not trying to be weak. I'm just very happy it's here.
No, and I think that's like a really generous place to be.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like being at a buffet. I don't want to eat the corn, but I'm glad it's there for someone who does like it.
You know what? That's a beautiful sentiment. It was...
Why corn? I don't know.
It's actually this is I know that we're supposed to wrap up, but I'm really just briefly gonna say. So you know the song "She's So High" by Okay, so I have hated that song. My whole life. I despise that song. I think it's just the worst thing in the world.
Wow.
It's just awful. I can't stand it. So then I was backstage at a Randy Bachman show, and
as one
is sometimes, and the first person I met was Tal.
Oh.
And I was like, oh no, he plays in the band. I'm going to have to hear this song tonight.
Of course, because it's their only song.
Well, he wasn't playing, his band wasn't playing, but he was playing as part of Randy's band because they're father and son. And
yes.
He's a great guitarist, and that's a legitimate fact. He's a great guitarist. And I was like, oh no, I'm going to have to hear this song. And I was like, no, I won't have to hear this. It's Randy's show. It's fine. It's fine. Oh my God. We get about halfway through the show, and Randy makes this speech, and he's like, so I don't know if you guys know this, but my son wrote this song. It's turning 20 years old this year. And I'm so proud of him and his success with this song. And the crowd went wild. Like, it was a sold-out crowd. A huge stadium in Abbotsford, of all places. And crowd went wild. And they were like, Randy's like, so I'm gonna turn the mic over to my son, Tal, who's going to sing you his big hit. So he performs the song. And the crowd is so into it. They are screaming and singing along, and they are having such a good time. And I had to sit there, and I was for the first 2 minutes, I was like...
It's only a 3-minute song.
I know, but for the first 2 minutes, I was just like, this is a nightmare that I manifested. How have I become so powerful? Why is this happening? And then I was like, you know what? That was really sweet and generous of Randy Bachman to like make space for his son in his show. This crowd is loving it. Yes, I hate this song and I'm never going to feel differently. But this crowd is so happy that my joy for them being so excited had to like sort of take over my body. And I was like, all right, fine.
Okay, I don't want anyone to think that I hated this show as much as you.
No.
Hates.
No.
She's so high.
No, I have a lot of legit reasons as to why she's so high is terrible.
Is it Aphrodite?
It's partly that. It's also just like this. I think it's like a real sort of actual misogynistic song because you're like putting a woman on a pedestal. You're not letting her be a real person and pretending that is somehow your feminism. I think that's like a really crappy kind of equity that I'm not into.
I'm going to have to go home and overthink that song now.
Yeah. Well, also this guy that I used to know was real pathetic after he broke up with like one of my best friend at the time and just sang it to her constantly after they broke up. It was so gross. One of the grossest things I've ever seen. So that might have informed my how misogynistic I find the song. Anyway,
like you need a cleanse or something.
Yeah, I really need to. Yeah. And I thought, and actually, I think I got it.
Yeah.
I think I got it at that show.
That's
like
beautiful.
That's a 20-year journey.
You were able to get rid of your own feelings and allow the audience to sweep you away.
Yeah. I mean, I still hate the song, but I don't.
That's a beautiful story.
Fun. Thank you. We love to leave our show on something we recommend.
Yeah.
Lisa, would you like to go first?
Sure. So there is an unusual movie on Netflix, made for Netflix a couple of years ago, from a Stephen King story called Gerald's Game. It is a very twisted psychological thriller, and that feels almost like a play.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say about it, because that's all I knew going into this.
Okay.
If you want to do a little bit more research just to make sure, actually, now that I'm saying this out loud, it does, I'll just say that it goes into a lot of abuse issues. So maybe you should, if that is a trigger for you, do some research ahead of time. But it is quite a fascinating bit of filmmaking, and so I said it's from a Stephen King story. So also you'll know there's some paranormal and supernatural, but it is quite an intense little movie.
Fascinating. I am going to recommend something entirely not that.
Not that.
Karen Tongson, who is one of the co-hosts of the recently canceled RIP Pop Rocket podcast, is also an amazing music writer. And Karen's new book is called Why Karen Carpenter Matters. And I've only read a first little bit of it. And I love it so much. And I love Karen Tongson so much. And I just highly recommend.
You love the Carpenters too?
I love the Carpenters too. And I love Karen Carpenter particularly.
Yeah, I do. I really do love the Carpenters.
Yeah. So I just really, it's not a long book. It's a short book. It's from the University of Texas Press. They're doing, they've got a whole series called Why X Matters. And so this is, I think, I don't know, I can't remember what number in the series this is, but Why Karen Carpenter Matters by Karen Tongson.
Yeah, and everyone out there, if the only reference you have for a drummer that sings is Don Henley.
Oh my God, go listen to Karen Carpenter.
To Karen Carpenter, because it's a rare skill.
Yeah.
And Karen Carpenter had it.
Yeah.
Before Don Henley.
Yeah, amazing.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. You can hang out with us on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. You could rate and review us.
Oh, Twitter,
5
just
stars.
like the birds.
Twitter, like the birds, like Tuca and Bertie.
There you go.
Yeah, you could rate and review us 5 stars.
5 stars.
On iTunes, and maybe we're already at the 50 reviews. I don't know, but we would like to do 50 5-star reviews.
5-star reviews. Thank you.
One day I'll read them, I swear.
I would like that. Andrea Gin is our producer. We are here at the Vancouver Public Library. We record, and it's always lovely to have you.
Thank you.